Welcome back, and greetings to all alchemists watching this video. This is the more advanced part of the Academy for Alchemists. As we revisit the previous video, I did touch base with Elixirs of Seals as well as demi human hunts and a few other easy imperial trade setups. So now let's talk about the bigger and more advanced setups for alchemy, okay? So we're going to be talking about some alchemy recipes that require a little bit more effort to keep up, as well as things that might actually lead you to making it only once or maybe even twice a week or maybe even once a month, depending on your gameplay style. But all these adds up to having a multi-million-dollar alchemy setup. Okay, so one thing I do want to address is that recently, I don't know what the situation in EU is, recently in NA, we've been experiencing a really large black stone powder shortage. So I do recommend any aspiring alchemists to consider leveling up their processing heavily to crush crystals to then turn into black stone powders, because as we see it right now, the prices are getting risen astronomically high in NA, and I thought it would bounce back. That was my terrible prediction apparently, and it doesn't seem to be bouncing back anytime soon, unless some type of event helps stabilize the economy. Anyway, guys, start leveling up your processing. When I go over workshops, there's going to be plenty of things that you will want to process in either way, so your processing should go up. But yeah, start thinking about getting your processing, I want to say, to at least Artisan 10 as well. Even I'm working on mine to increase black stone powder production. Okay, moving forward to the next thing though. So alchemists, this is the advanced section. If you watch the very first video of the Black Desert Academy, I'm going to stress that we all should strive for 300 contribution. You can cut down on the beer things before 300, but you still should be pushing towards 300 contribution. That is a goal that I have set for all my Academy users, 300 contribution, okay? So if you're doing the advanced setup, I'm expecting you guys to be at least 270 to 280 contribution. I want you guys to then set up your next part of your farms if you want to make that extra, I want to say 100 mil a week if you can, or maybe less now since the alchemy nerf, but you'll be still making a large profit if you set it up this way. Alright, so the next three recipes we're going to talk about are EXP elixirs, elixir of time, and we're also going to talk about, I don't want to have this crafted heavily, but this 30 elixir is viable, and I'm going to cut the chains and break the secrets for this elixir, and probably do a separate video about it anyway. So this 30 elixir is going to be called elixir concentration. Okay, and not many people make this, and not many people use this, mainly because it requires weeds, and weeds is heavily used for regents and liquid and powder regents, and the recipes on the websites aren't as accurate. I mean, they're accurate, but they aren't showing the alternative on how to make it. So let's first backtrack to the first one I stated, elixirs of experience. Okay, so the recipe for elixir of experience is going to be pine sap, dry mane grass, and I believe it is also, oh yeah, pine sap, dry mane grass, clown's blood, and powders of flame. Now, if you guys watched my videos, you should already know how to get powders of flame, but I'll brief over it without giving it that much detail. Please reference earlier videos at this point. Powder of flames is a byproduct of mining at copper ore nodes, and pine sap can be get from only one pine node by towards the hex marked sanctuary area, but most likely I'll be showing you in the video since I'm recording the audio first. Alright, so that's where you get pine sap. If not, I do suggest you pre-order it or set up a gathering day where you actually get the pine sap yourself. Clown's blood is fairly easy to get. It's a byproduct of wolf blood. let's see the recipe. So the clown's blood is fairly easy to get. It's a byproduct of like wolf blood or flamingo blood, spirit leaf, powder of darkness, and clear liquid reagent. All these ingredients are fairly easy to get and spam to a large amount. I wouldn't see clown blood as something that's very marketable, but you can sell it, but it goes through the marketplace very slowly, so it's hard to liquidate into actual silver. But if you do see an opening or a temporary drought in clown's blood, it is a nice profit to just sell it directly. Anyway, so clown's blood is probably the major active ingredient in the experience elixir. I showed you in the beginning of the alchemy introduction video where to get the wolf's blood at, so you guys already have that reference. The other ingredient, spirit leaf, can be bought on the marketplace, but it's also a byproduct from lumbering at certain nodes. Now that the game is updated, you can put your mouse over certain timber nodes and it will tell you if spirit leaf or monk's branch or sap is a byproduct of that node. When you do see these nodes, please send human workers to increase the number of procs you get. Okay, so that's spirit leaf of color. Powder of darkness is also a byproduct from mining. You mine iron ore nodes to get powder of darkness. I also mentioned this in previous videos. So anything I don't go into detail about is probably mentioned in previous videos. You do need clear liquid reagent. Clear liquid reagent's main active ingredient is weeds. So it will take, you should have a fair amount of weeds already built up if you've been following the academy and then stockpiling bear. And if you sent workers to manage your large farms, then your weed situation should be pretty nice. Alright, so that covers all the ingredients for clown's blood. Fairly easy to make. Almost every ingredient I listed so far are actually fairly common in the marketplace, so if you keep an eye out, you can easily just stockpile those ingredients and you won't be losing much profit. Alright, so now let's get back to Elixir experience, okay? So the next major ingredient besides clown blood is dry mains grass. Now this is what you've probably seen in my first cooking video my contribution video when I was telling you about farming and stuff. The plants that I was using in that contribution video was special dry main grass. It is much more efficient to use special dry main grass to stockpile and raise a farm to supply your experience elixir rotation. So I do suggest about 20 slots of fence for special dry main grass to allow you to make about, I want to say 30 to I'd probably say $30 to $50 million worth of EXP elixirs fairly a week, depending on how much you cook. But I also did pre-order or buy white dry main grass whenever it popped up as well. So maybe that's why my figures were about 100 mil to 200 mil in those EXP elixirs alone a week. Pine sap I do suggest you have on rotation for pre-order. You will never have enough of it. So keep an eye out, if not just only on pre-order, but just keep an eye on the marketplace if you're near a market and a stack of pine sap goes up. Because without buying pine sap from the market, you will not be able to keep up with your supply. Okay, powder of flame is I already mentioned already, and you can just buy that. So that's pretty much all you need. You need a farm. You need a pine sap node, preferably a pre-order for the pine sap as well as checking the marketplace in person for pine sap too. That's going to be what your biggest opponent for mass producing experience elixirs is, pine sap. Dry main grass, I explained, to set up a 10 to 20 slots of fencing of dry main grass seeds and harvest those seeds and replant and so on. Clown's blood I explained, so that should cover experience elixirs for this video. And the figures, I can't give you guys figures because you guys all play different amounts, and I don't know who, and depending on how efficient you are, it really depends on how much money you make. Okay, so let's give you guys another elixir. Next elixir is Elixir of Time. Okay, by the way, these elixirs I'm stating are ones that are still semi-viable after the nerf of blue elixirs. Elixirs of Human Hunt, Elixirs of Fury, a bunch of other elixirs that I use in Race to a Billion are no longer viable thanks to the freaking nerf. So the ones I'm mentioning are ones I feel like are semi-safe after the nerf, meaning that the green versions sell even though you can't combine them. I forgot to add the disclaimer. I apologize. It wasn't on my script. So anyway, Elixir of Time is made up of Wise Man's Blood, Fire Flake Flowers, Powder of Time, and Maple Saps. the hardest things to keep up with are going to be the Wiseman's Bloods and Maple Saps. There are about, I believe, 2 or 3 nodes that gives you Maple Sap. Actually, 2 nodes to my knowledge. And first one is fairly easy to get to, will be located a little bit south of Heidel. The next one will be located north of Elric Shrine. In the video I should be showing you where that node is. Fire Flake Flowers is tricky. It shows up, but you have to keep your eye out to get the seeds. But you want to get Special Fire Flake Flower seeds and dedicate at least 10 to 20 slots of fencing to that. This is, once again, this is for Alchemy majors, okay? I'm not saying you guys to get everything I put in every Academy video. This is for people who wants to focus on Alchemy like I did in my Race to a Billionaire. So, about 20 slots of fencing dedicated to Fire Flake Flowers. Now, the Fire Flake Flowers are fairly valuable, and if Elixirs of Times ever become saturated, it's actually semi-viable to actually sell the special flowers directly back into the market. Same thing with EXP Elixirs too. If they ever become saturated, you can sell the crops directly into the market for a pretty nice profit. Okay, so with 20 slots of fence for Fire Flake Flowers, you should be able to manage about at least push to at least 20 to 50 million. I'm just giving you guys large varieties of numbers. 20 to 50 million in elixirs a week. The Maple Sap I will also keep a pre-order today for. And the Powder of Time is easy to buy, but you can get them passively through zinc ore nodes. Do I recommend either or? I recommend both. If you have 270 to 280 contribution and you're not burning it in a terrible way, then you should have enough contribution to spare to get a zinc ore node, because you're gonna need zinc in my workshop video anyway. So if you plan on having a lot of workshops too, might as well stock up on zinc, guys. So that explains the ingredients of the Elixir of Time. The one I want to talk about right now is Wiseman Blood, because unlike Clown's Blood and the Experience Elixir, Wiseman Blood is actually kind of hard to get, strictly because Weasel and Fox Blood is hard to not Weasel Fox Weasel and Fox Blood is hard to get, but from the market. But Trace of Ascension is extremely bottlenecked and hard to get. Trace of Ascension, just so you guys know, is used to make Uriah weapons. Okay, so if you plan on running a Uriah shop, I don't advise you to run a Elixir of Time farm, or vice versa. Okay, so you literally pick your poison, because Trace of Ascension is something that's hard to build up in large quantity. You get Trace of Ascension from the same node you get Trace of Earth, which is like due slightly east of Velia, at that excavation node, and it comes in at a very slow rate. So Trace of Ascension is also something you want to snipe whenever you get the chance from the marketplace as well. But the other ingredients of Wiseman Bloods is going to be Monk's Branch, Clear Liquid Reagent, and Foxy Weasel Blood. All those things I already explained how to get pretty much, so you should be pretty okay with that. Monk's Branch, just a brief over, you get from lumbering, and now it tells you in game what the side procs are from those lumber nodes. So just bring a human to a place that gives Monk's Branch, and you should be a-okay. As I am recording this video for NA, let me be specific now because I've been getting a lot of hate from EU people. From NA, Monk's Branch is in the marketplace and easy to buy. Same for Clear Liquid Reagents, hit or miss, but I do suggest you to craft that yourself for the contribution points. Okay guys, so that settles the big annoying ingredient for Elixir of Time. Next, let's talk about Elixir of Concentration, the mysterious elixir in the room. I wasn't going to tell you guys about this elixir because you guys didn't need to know, but since there's a nerf, I feel like I should replace the elixirs that we did lost with something else viable, since I'm not really doing alchemy anymore anyway because I don't have any time. I might as well just share this with you guys. So I'm sorry for the concentration alchemists, who I'm probably gonna give you guys competition, but I'm just sharing what I know, and hopefully my economics video will teach you guys to discover things on your own. Elixir of Concentration, I know, long disclaimer. Elixir of Concentration, if you look on the websites, the majority of the recipes does not give you the alternative. The main reason why there is no competition of Elixir of Concentration, and it probably won't be until a while after this video comes out, that is because all the ingredients tell you are 1 clear liquid reagent, 3 cloud mushrooms, 2 wild grass, and 3 bear blood or troll blood or ogre. You know, the alternatives. So those recipes, and not just one website, but several websites are kind of off with that recipe. One is that it tells you wild grass, but you could actually use regular weeds as an alternative. I don't suggest you becoming a concentration elixir crafter if you are lacking in reagents and powder reagents. So make sure you do have a healthy supply of liquid and powder reagents before you become a crafter of elixirs of concentration. So please keep that in mind. When I say healthy, I'm suggesting at least 20k, at least 15k of powders and at least 20 plus k of clear liquid reagents. Okay, so let me give you guys the recipe that you do use. Okay, I discovered after failing several times the proper ratio of weeds to wild grass. Okay, so the proper ratio of weeds to wild grass, even though the website suggests 2 wild grass, 1 wild grass is equal to 3 weeds. Okay, guys, so this is probably not on any website still. So I had to literally go through trial and error. I feel like a real alchemist trying to discover a recipe. But yeah, so it actually takes 3 weeds for every wild grass that was doing the recipe. So I would suggest about 9 weeds. I'm at 9 weeds. I'm sorry, the ratio is off. I'm at 4 weeds. 4 weeds for every wild grass in the recipe. I know that's a lot. The wild grass actually counts for 4 weeds, not 3. I don't know where I got 3 from. 4 weeds. Okay, so it's asking for 2 wild grass. So the actual recipe for normal people like us who can't mass produce wild grass is going to be 8 weeds. So 4 cloud mushrooms, 8 weeds, 2 clear liquid reagents, and 3 troll, ogre, or whatever blood. Okay, so you know the interchangeable bloods. I'm sorry if I'm ad-libbing a lot of stuff, but 3 troll, ogre, or the interchangeable bloods. And you can also mix you can also splice 2 bloods that belong to the same family. And I believe troll blood is of the tyrant family, so you can splice 2 different types of tyrant bloods to reduce the burden of 1 blood, which I explained in the previous video. Okay, guys, so those are the 3 major recipes of advanced alchemy that I want you guys to work on. This is not the end of the video though, guys. There's still a little bit more complex stuff I'm going to go into. Now, let's talk about magic fruit, okay? Now, I'm not sure if other websites have it, but my reference is blackdesertfoundry.com/the recipe page. You can actually look at what types of fruits come from the most type of crop. So what I'm trying to say is that the fruits like fruit of crimson flame, fruit of abundance, fruit of the sun, fruit of enchantment, fruit of nature, all these fruits have a certain proc rate that's favored for certain crops. So let's say you was working on a beer farm, okay? So let's say you chose potatoes as your crop to mass produce beer. So out of those potatoes, most likely you've gotten a lot of I believe green fruits from that one. Yeah, I believe fruit of nature, if you mass produce potatoes like I said in my first video, you must have gotten a lot of fruit of nature as a byproduct of that. And fruit of nature is very useful for making oils of fortitude. And oils of fortitude is also very useful for making elixir of draining, which since the alchemy nerf happened is not as viable anymore. Would I say it's worth the ingredients? That's a strong, honestly, oh my god, I'm just looking at it, thinking about the ingredients again. Well, if Trace of Forest, which is the main active ingredient in the elixir of draining, if Trace of Forest ever drops in price, then crafting elixirs of draining might be useful. But as of right now, crafting elixir of draining isn't that useful. Sorry, guys. But Grim Reaper's elixirs is actually still semi-viable. So You can use the blue fruits that you got from your potato farms to make elixir oils of Fortitudes, and whether or not you want to take it to the next stage and turn those oils into elixirs is up to you. I'm gonna let you guys research the recipes for those oils and see which ones you choose. But right now, be very careful, since the alchemy nerf, a lot of them may not even sell if you make a bunch of green potions. So I'm gonna let that discretion go down to you guys to inspire a little bit more of self-investigation. You might discover something that I don't know. So I just want to cover that what fruits give off from what crops. Okay, so from the beer video, if you chose potatoes, you must have gotten a lot of green fruits, and those green fruits can be made to make oil of Fortitude. You can use the oil of Fortitude to sell directly into the market. It's worth a pretty penny, and is actually semi-profitable. So, and they don't sell within 24 hours, but they sell in a generally fast, or generally short period of time. Alright, the next fruit I'm going to talk about is fruit of the Crimson Flame, which comes from black pepper seeds, olive seeds, chili seeds, pumpkin, and garlic. If you're a cook on the side and you have garlic, a small garlic farm like I recommended you to get for minor cooks, you might get a lot of fruit of Crimson Flame passively building up. This is very nice because fruit of the Crimson Flame is also used to craft magic crystals. They're also used to craft an elixir that a lot of people know about called Elixir Frenzy. Even after the nerf, the green elixirs do sell on a fairly short period of time. So, but I think the price has semi-dropped. Once again, when I'm speaking of prices, I'm only speaking about NA, so I'm sorry, my EU friends. I can't really tell for you guys. You guys have to investigate yourself and do the calculations yourself and let me know. But for NA, the elixirs of Frenzy kind of dropped in price, but they sell on a decent amount of time, and it's better than burning the fruit directly into the market and selling it. Okay, so that's fruit of Crimson Flame. Another important fruit I want to talk to you guys about are fruit of the Sun, which is used for oil of Curruption. Now, oil of Curruption is a fairly easy one to make because it's a sinner's blood oil. So it takes one fruit of the sun, one powder of darkness, one spirit leaf, and one sinner's blood. Now, what oil of Corruption allows you to make is Elixir of Penetration, which is very easy to sell. Elixir of Penetration recipe is 1 oil of Corruption, 7 pine sap, 6 clear liquid reagents, 2 traces of violence, and 2 bluffer mushrooms. Bluffer mushrooms are one of the least common mushrooms, but it is still something you can buy from the marketplace if you just give it time to appear. You don't have much competition, so when it appears, it's fairly easy to get. It's not really like a bid to the death. Okay, let's move forward though. Oil, what else? So oil of Corruption can also make Elixir of Carnage, which gives you down attack damage by about 50% for 5 minutes. It's very good. This is something you can use for personal consumption if you have your eye on PvP in your future. So using these fruits to make oil Elixir of Carnage is in your best interest if you are going to be a future PvPer, and just to save it. But the recipe is 1 oil of Corruption, 6 tiger mushrooms, 3 spirit leaves, 7 pure powder reagents, and 7 traces of earth. Now the tiger mushrooms can be found from a node, and I will show you that probably when recording. Spirit leaves can be given as a passive drop from lumbering nodes. Pure powder reagents I explained how to make in the previous video, and traces of earth are passively gotten from excavation nodes. So that's pretty much all the rest ingredients. None of them are very hard to get. Tiger mushrooms are usually purchasable, but I will show you the node anyway. But yeah, those are oil corrupt. I'm just going over the important oils. All of them are valuable. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just going over ones that I think you guys should know about immediately. So oil of Corruption, oil of Fortitude, oil of Regeneration is one with fruit that comes in flame. Oil of the Storms though, this one is a byproduct of Fruit of Abundance. Now, if you have a lot of Fruit of Abundance, this is most likely someone who has either a half and half split between cooking and alchemy, meaning that they have a farm that gives them a lot of sunflowers and strawberries if they do that, or onions. So If you have a sunflower farm which is used for tea with fine scents, then you might be coming across a lot of Fruit of Abundance. Fruit of Abundance is easy to sell and market, so is the Oils of the Storms. Now the Oil of the Storms though will net you a tier 3 elixir on this called sorry, throat was a little bit dry from talking. But Oils of the Storm should net you Elixir Detection, which is a critical strike damage by 50%. That one is probably the hardest to get, so I don't really recommend it. That's something to look for. I'll look deeply into right now. I'm not even sure if the other elixirs are still being used. I do believe though Oils of the Storms is used for another product within crafting magic crystals. I don't want to talk about magic crystals in this video because in my opinion it's not really that profitable right now, but if I do find a profitable way of crafting magic crystals easily, then I'll mention that in the next video. But this is pretty much summing it up. So if you do have Fruit of Abundance, I do recommend you either turning it into Oils of Storms and selling it, or just selling the Fruit of Abundance directly into the market for some side income. But you can hold on to it for now. I have mixed feelings about that, but at least I just wanted to cover that if you are picking certain crops and you are getting certain fruits, it's based on the crop that you get. You can get any fruit from any crop. Let me start at that. But the RNG scales for certain fruits for certain crops, and the oils are used in each oil that we have in the game is based off of a fruit. And I want you guys to look up what each fruit turns into as an oil, and look up what tier 3 elixirs are made from those oils. You will not be able to mass produce these elixirs usually based off of fruit, but these elixirs are usually the ones that's about 100k if you get a blue proc. So please keep that in mind. This is probably like the last stage of alchemy when you're making the tier 3 elixirs, which are worth 100k for every blue proc. And you won't be able to mass produce them once again, but it'll be a nice cherry on top to your income. And if you do about 2 or 3 or maybe 4 tier 2 elixirs right, you can still sell it in the market. And then from the introduction video, you still have your seals, your mentalities, your demi human hunts, and then you have experience elixirs from the tier 2 and from this video, and as well as elixir time or interchangeable elixirs that you might discover on your own, or elixir concentration selling directly into the marketplace. You should be making about, I want to say at least 100 mil a week if you do it properly. I'm saying at least. That's me lowballing it. I do suggest you stockpile your dry main grass and your pine saps to about 5,000, not 5,000 dry main grass, let's say 3,000 dry main grass, special dry main grass, and about 5,000 pine sap before you start adding it into your rotation of recipes. Same thing in maple sap. I do suggest you stockpile 3,000 special fire flake flowers and about 5,000 maple saps, and you should be okay. Maybe 6,000 actually, because maple sap for some reason goes through a lot. Well, actually, you won't need to stockpile 6,000 because you won't be making human hunts anymore. Let me just tell you how badly this affected human hunts before I end this video. Guys, human hunts from race to a billion, I used to sell from anywhere from like 17 to maybe 21k for greens, and now the price has dropped to as low as 9k. So crafting human hunts is officially dead. Only use human hunts for personal consumption, or yeah, you can use greens for personal consumption and sell the blues, or you can just use all of it for personal consumption, because killing pirates, it helps. Killing Elrics, killing Salzans. So that's why human hunts was always selling so fast. PvP helps you PK people. So human hunts was always selling fast. But let me also market one of the elixirs I'm telling you guys to sell. Elixir concentration is actually an elixir that actually significantly helps you with your grind. Not so much as in like general Calpheon, Serendia mods, but when you go out west into the east, when you go out east towards Valencia and you enter the desert, the mobs are heavily built in with evasion, and accuracy becomes more of a apparent stat when you're trying to DPS these mobs. So Elixirs of Concentration is actually a preferred elixir to use if you're trying to up your damage against level 55 plus mobs. Okay guys, so using the concentrated ones will give you about, I think, 11 accuracy. So Elixir of Concentration, if you are planning on grinding a lot, you want to keep some on the side for yourself, it will help you a lot with your damage because of the accuracy boost. I think that's all I wanted to say for this video. If you guys found this video helpful, and hopefully I want to hear how well you guys are doing with the experience elixir market and stuff like that, please leave a like and a comment below. I appreciate it every time. We are growing at a seemingly really unrealistic rate for me, considering how hard I put in for the years before this point. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys, love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. I am going to render this and go to sleep. So much love guys. Alright, let's let the music play it out.